Listen to me. Champions aren't born in the spotlight. They're forged in the hours no one else sees. The battle for your destiny is not won when you sign the deal, close the sale, or cash the check. It's won in the invisible moments. And one of the most powerful invisible moments you can master is the early morning, not 9 a.m. when the world's already in motion. I'm talking about that sacred golden window when the rest of the world is still asleep. That's where the leaders separate themselves from the followers. The morning is God's gift to those who are ready to multiply their talents, not bury them. So if you're still hitting the snooze button, you're not just losing time, you're losing opportunities that God already prepared for you. If you own the first hour, you'll own the next 23. The truth is, the way you start is the way you finish, and the start of your day is either going to pull you into purpose or drag you into problems. Most people don't lose their day at 3 p.m. They lose it in the first 30 minutes after they wake up. If your first action in the morning is reaching for your phone, you've already given your focus away before your feet have even hit the floor. That's why high performers, visionaries, and leaders guard their mornings like sacred ground. They understand that the first hour is not just the start of the day, it's the architect of their destiny for the next 24 hours. That hour can either be an investment that multiplies or a liability that drains you. Think about it. You wake up with a mind that's fresh, uncluttered, and ready to create. That's the moment when your brain is at its peak state for clarity, creativity, and strategy. Yet most people hand that prime time over to chaos, emails, notifications, news headlines, social media. And then they wonder why they feel overwhelmed before they've even had breakfast. But when you take ownership of that hour, you shift from being a reactor to being a creator. You're not just going with the flow, you're setting the current. That's why I call it the momentum hour, because the energy, clarity, and focus you generate in that first stretch of the morning becomes the force that pushes you through the rest of the day. You can't expect to win the race if you trip at the starting line. The first hour is your starting line, and how you handle it determines how you run the race. Champions use that time to do things that feed their mind, strengthen their spirit, and sharpen their skills. Maybe it's prayer, reading exercise, journaling, planning, or deep work on a high priority project. Whatever it is, it has to be intentional. Purpose-driven mornings produce power-driven days. You've got to look at the morning as a multiplier, not just a clock. And here's the hook. When you win that first hour, you stack the odds in your favor. You've already created a victory before the world even knows you're awake. The human mind loves momentum. It thrives on the emotional high of accomplishment. If you start your day with a win, your brain releases the chemicals that keep you motivated to win again and again. It's not just about productivity. It's about creating a cascade of confidence that carries into every decision you make. Too many people think success is about big breaks and lucky moments, but most of it comes down to how you handle the little decisions that no one else sees. Waking up early and using that time wisely is one of those invisible decisions that pays visible dividends. You may not feel the change in a single morning, but stack that discipline over weeks and months. And you'll be miles ahead of the people still hitting the snooze button. By the time they're starting, you're already moving. By the time they're thinking, you're already executing. And by the time they're reacting, you've already created outcomes they're trying to catch up to. The first hour is like the opening chapter of a book. If it's powerful, it pulls you in and sets the tone for everything that follows. So if you want your day to be a bestseller, you can't start it with sloppy writing. You have to craft it with intention, energy, and clarity. When you own the first hour, you don't just control your schedule. You control your state of mind, your emotional energy, and your ability to stay on mission no matter what distractions come your way. That's the power of taking charge early. You're not waiting for life to happen, you're making life happen. And that, my friend, is how you build unstoppable momentum before the rest of the world even wakes up. Distractions, demands, and drama wake up late. That's why the early hours are the most powerful hours you'll ever own. When the world is still quiet, you have a rare advantage, a window of time where you can move without resistance, think without interruption, and build without interference. Too many people underestimate how much progress they can make when the rest of the world is asleep. They're waiting for the perfect opportunity in the middle of the day, not realizing that the perfect opportunity is the morning itself. In those hours, you can advance your vision while everyone else is still dreaming theirs. The truth is, the battlefield of success is crowded once the sun comes up. Phones start ringing, inboxes start filling, problems start knocking on your door. And the worst part, none of those distractions ask for your permission before they steal your attention. But in the early hours, you control the flow. You decide where your focus goes, and you decide what deserves your energy. That's why people who wake up early often seem like they're always 2 steps ahead. They are. They've been making moves in the enemy's blind spot. Think about a warrior who moves before the enemy even knows there's a fight. That's what waking up early allows you to do. While the competition is still resting, you're strategizing. While they're warming up, you're executing. That's not just an advantage, that's a complete shift in the game. When you start before everyone else, you set the pace they have to follow. And here's the hook. When you control the pace, you control the outcome. You stop chasing opportunities, and instead, opportunities start chasing you because you're already in motion when they appear. Most people allow their day to be dictated by whatever shows up first. That's why they feel constantly behind, stressed, and reactive. They wake up late, they rush through their morning, and by the time they start, they're already losing. But when you rise before the noise begins, you create space to set your own agenda. You become proactive instead of reactive. You set the standard for your day instead of letting the day set the standard for you. That's not just discipline, it's leadership over your own life. And here's something most people never realize. In those early hours, you are at your most creative and most strategic. Your brain isn't yet clogged with other people's opinions, requests, or emergencies. That's when the best ideas come, the clearest plans form, and the deepest focus happens. You can write the plan for the day, work on the project that moves your business forward, or study the material that sharpens your mind. And the beauty of it is, you can do all of this without the constant tug of distractions trying to pull you in every direction. There's a reason top performers, athletes, CEOs, and innovators start before the sun. It's not because they're superhuman. It's because they understand the power of being first in the field. The early hours are the only time of day when you can work in absolute alignment with your vision without the noise of the world interfering. Once you taste that level of clarity and control, you'll never want to go back. Here's the real challenge. You have to protect those hours like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. That's where your biggest breakthroughs will be born. That's where the ideas that change your business and your life will come to you. Those hours are not for scrolling, wandering, or drifting. They're for advancing. They're for building the foundation so solid that when the noise of the day arrives, you're unshakable. If you can learn to consistently take action before the rest of the world even knows the race has started, you'll win so often that people will start calling it luck. But it won't be luck. It will be the power of moving in the enemy's blind spot while everyone else is still asleep. Talent without preparation is wasted potential, and wasted potential is one of the saddest things you will ever see. You can have more skill, more intelligence, more creativity than anyone in the room, but if you show up unprepared, you will lose to the person who put in the work while you were sleeping. Preparation is the great equalizer. It turns average people into champions and keeps champions from becoming average. And the early morning is the most strategic time you will ever have to prepare. It's the space where you can sharpen your sword before you step onto the battlefield of the day. When the world is asleep, you're in the workshop. You're building, studying, refining, and rehearsing. Most people think their results come from the public moments, the sales calls, the presentations, the big meetings. But what they don't realize is that those moments are just the harvest. The planning happens in the private hours when no one is watching. If you fail to prepare, you are preparing to fail. That's not just a catchy phrase. It's a reality that separates the successful from the struggling. The hook is this: your level of preparation determines your level of confidence. You can walk into a situation with raw talent and still feel uncertain, because talent alone doesn't remove doubt. But when you've prepared, when you've put in the work, before the moment arrives, you walk in knowing you're ready. You don't have to hype yourself up. You've already earned the right to win because you've already done the work in advance. The early morning is when you earn that right. Look at athletes before a championship game. The actual game is the showcase, but the victory is decided in the early morning practices, the drills, the conditioning when no one is in the stands. They win because they've already fought the battle in private. Your business, your career, your goals, they work the same way. If you're only working when the lights are on, you're already behind. The winners are working when the lights are off, in the hours no one else is paying attention. And here's the thing most people overlook. Preparation in the early hours compounds over time. One day of preparation might give you an edge, but months or years of consistent early morning preparation will make you untouchable. You will know your craft so well, you'll see opportunities others miss and avoid mistakes others can't. That's the kind of edge that doesn't just give you a win, it builds a legacy. When you choose to prepare early, you're also making a statement to yourself. You're saying, I'm serious about my calling. I'm serious about my vision. And your actions reinforce your identity. You start to see yourself not as someone who's hoping to succeed, but as someone who is built to succeed because you're doing what others aren't willing to do. That changes the way you think, speak, and move through your day. Most people wait for life to put them in high pressure situations before they get serious about preparation, but by then, it's too late. The early morning gives you a controlled environment to build the skills, knowledge, and resilience you'll need when life gets unpredictable. It's like building your house before the storm comes. You don't wait for the rain to start putting up the roof. You build now so you're ready when it matters most. Every time you wake up and prepare in those quiet hours, you're separating yourself from the crowd. You're creating a gap between you and the competition that gets wider every single day. And one day, people will look at your results and say, you're lucky. But you'll know it wasn't luck. It was discipline. It was commitment. It was preparation done in the hidden hours before the sun came up. And that, more than talent, is what turns potential into reality. It's not the big leaps that transform your life. It's the small daily decisions that no one else sees. The truth is, destiny is built one discipline at a time, and waking up early is one of the most powerful disciplines you can ever master. Most people wait for some huge breakthrough to change their circumstances, but real change rarely comes in explosions. It comes in consistent, deliberate actions stacked over time. The beauty of waking up early is that it's not just about the time you gain, it's about the identity you build. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're telling yourself that you are the kind of person who follows through. The hook here is simple. Small hinges swing big doors. A hinge doesn't look powerful, but it's what makes the door move. Your early mornings may seem small, but they have the power to swing open massive opportunities down the road. That extra hour to think, plan, study, or create compounds over weeks, months, and years. And just like compound interest multiplies your money, compound discipline multiplies your results. You may not see the payoff after one day, but you'll see it after 1 year when you've accomplished more than the people who kept hitting snooze. When you wake up early consistently, you're not just training your body. You're training your mind to honor commitments. You're proving to yourself that you can do what you said you'd do, even when you don't feel like it. That mental muscle is priceless because it applies to every area of your life. If you can get up when you'd rather stay in bed, you can make the call when you'd rather avoid it. You can finish the project when you'd rather quit. You can take the risk when fear tries to hold you back. And here's the part that separates the top performers from the rest. They don't just rely on motivation, they rely on systems of discipline. Motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. Discipline is a decision. It stays. The discipline of waking up early creates a ripple effect. It forces you to go to bed earlier, which means you take better care of your body. It gives you time for prayer, planning, and preparation, which means you start your day with clarity instead of chaos. That clarity leads to better choices, and those choices lead to better results. The early morning becomes a foundation for other winning habits to stack on top of it. You start eating better, thinking sharper, and working smarter because you've already built the discipline muscle. And here's the magic. You start trusting yourself more. That self-trust is a secret weapon because success always requires risk, and risk always requires belief. If you've built the habit of keeping your word to yourself, you'll have the confidence to take bold steps others are too scared to take. People think small disciplines are optional, but they're not. They're the building blocks of your destiny. You can't expect to live a big life if you can't master the small moments. Waking up early is a small moment that sends a loud message. I value my future more than my comfort. And every time you send that message, your future listens. It starts to respond with more opportunities, more clarity, and more momentum. The truth is, your destiny is not created in the big events. It's created in the hidden hours that no one applauds. It's created in those quiet mornings when you choose purpose over pillows, vision over comfort, and discipline over delay. Those decisions may seem small, but they are chiseling away at the person you were and shaping the person you're becoming. And over time, those small daily choices will open doors you never thought you could walk through. So the next time that alarm rings, remember this: your future is calling. You can